To the transfer show, the window has reopened. Let's focus now on the future of one of Spain's Euro 2024 winners, Nico Williams. Athletic Club's Nico Williams. Michael, one of the star players in European football at the moment. So much fun to watch as well. And you've got some news reaching us from Germany.
Yes, from our colleagues in Germany, Bayern Munich have been informed that Barcelona are the front runners to sign Nico Williams from Athletic Club, according to our colleagues in Germany. Now, fresh negotiations have taken place in the last 20 hours, and it's thought Barcelona have the best chance to sign Williams, and that's despite potential registration issues with Barcelona. But despite that, Sky in Germany expect Barca to complete the transfer for the winger, and they will make those numbers work for Hansi Flick. Why would you want to leave Bilbao? I'll never know. It's a lovely place, Jules.
I suppose Barcelona and Munich aren't bad places to do to either. But, I mean, there will be those saying, well, look, he's one of the stars of world football. The Premier League is the place to be. Would it be a surprise that he hasn't been lured over here, Mark?
In one respect, yes, because I think he's top class. He fits the profile of what every Premier League club is looking for. Young player, 22 years old, someone who's got huge potential, a match winner, a superstar, a potential global icon. But La Liga don't like letting their superstars leave the league. They will do everything they possibly can to help Barcelona within the rules to ensure he stays in La Liga. And obviously Sky in Germany saying that's his likely destination. We know that there's been an interest from Bayern Munich and Arsenal as well. However, they're not going to let one of the superstars walk away easily, particularly if there is a side like Barcelona that say, we want you. We know he has this brilliant relationship at Spain with Lamine Yamal, the future of Barcelona. We also know that they're friends off the pitch as well, and that will play a big factor in where he decides to go. So therefore, you can understand in that reason why, La Liga say, no, we have to make this work. We have to find a way to facilitate this financially for Barcelona. Not only can they sign him, but they can register him. The other reason why there won't be more clubs interested is because financially it will be a huge deal to make happen. He's on big money already. The contract will be huge if he were to sign for a new club. The registration fee, the bonuses, the signing on fee, the agency fee, all these things that you don't necessarily think of. This could be a package that costs 150 to 200 million over 5 or 6 years. So for any kind of club in the Premier League to do that kind of deal, you've got to have a lot of cash. And that's why potentially things are just stumbling when it comes to clubs going, well, can we invest that much money? Yes, we think he's the real deal and he's going to be brilliant in the future. But actually, it might be quite an expensive deal to make happen at this stage. But you never know down the line. The other thing to just mention as well, the sporting director, Deco, has said they also like Marcus Rashford and they also like Liverpool's Luis Diaz. So there's 2 other names, as well as Nico Williams, that's on that Barcelona list.
Interesting. We'll be keeping an eye on them all, of course. Let's just switch focus now to a domino effect surrounding left-backs. One could impact on the other, and so on. Let's discuss the 3 players we're talking about. Let's start with the first domino, if you like. This is Adrian Triffier to Bournemouth, and this went through today, Michael.
Yeah, done deal. Bournemouth player confirmed around lunchtime. 11 million plus 3 million add-ons, a 5-year deal confirmed by Bournemouth. Very, very highly regarded left-back. It just shows Bournemouth the way this football club have operated over the last few years. Great ownership as well. And again, it looks like another promising signing. Will he provide competition at left-back or will he not? Let's go to Mark McAdam.
What are you saying?
You've got great context of Bournemouth. That's all.
Okay, I've covered Bournemouth for a few years now, and this is obviously a huge signing for them. I know immediately everyone will say, Milos Kerkez, does that mean he's going to head out the exit door at the Vitality Stadium? Probably. Looking likely. You're not going to have 2 top-class international left-backs in the same squad when you're not in Europe. So therefore, you believe this would make the way for Milos to head to Liverpool, which we'll talk about in a moment. On Triffier, 23 years old, he was amazingly also on the list of left-backs that Bournemouth were targeting when they signed Milos Kerkez. So he's a player that they'd scouted for a number of years before that list was created. They decided at the time to go for Kerkez, but they still liked the player. They've continued to watch and monitor him over the last couple of years as well. So they've actually got a database and a long period of time of watching his development and progression. So therefore, they know a lot about the player. And that's why they decided to act quite quickly. I think 11 million for a France international with a few add-ons is exceptional business, and they've got it done nice and early in the window. In May this year, he made his 150th Ligue 1 appearance. He's been a massive player at Rennes, and not only is he an important starter for the team, he's been made captain as well. So Bournemouth have signed captain material, and we know what that brings. When you're a captain, it means you're a good voice in the dressing room. You're a good person that people look up to. You've got those leadership qualities that are important on and off the pitch. So the fact that Bournemouth have got that has been brilliant. Not only is he a robust player, technically he's very good. He's very good going forward. Rennes like to play a back three, and he's played as a left wing back. So not only can he play as a conventional left back, but when you're a left wing back, you've got to get forward, you've got to get to those advanced positions, and your quality in and around the box is so much more important. Bournemouth believe he'll also be a goal threat as well, which could be really important. You saw Milos Kerkez come up with a couple of important goals. So not only does he bring that, but his character and profile off the pitch is something that Bournemouth were excited about. Really good guy. All the references they got on the player were exceptional. He fits into the mould and profile of what they've been doing in transfer windows over the course of the last few years. So Bournemouth are really excited about this player, and they also believe that whilst he's had a little taste of international football with France, they believe Bournemouth can give him the platform to go and challenge someone like Luca Digne and be the number one left back for France. So therefore, this could be a really exciting signing. And hopefully, you know, maybe in 2 or 3 years' time, we might be talking about Adrien Truffert going to another side. Bournemouth won't like me for saying that, but their recruitment has been so good over the last few years that that's exactly what's happening. Yeah. Players are going to Bournemouth, they're getting put in the shop window, they're developing, they're improving, and then they're moving on.
And that's exactly what happened, of course, with Kerkez, who now looks like he could be off to Liverpool for a lot more than the 11 million that Bournemouth for Truffert. And then you ask the question, well, what would that mean for Andy Robertson, who's been linked with a move to Atletico Madrid and the chance to link up with Diego Simeone there? A match made in heaven, maybe? So says European football expert Kevin Hatchard.
Make a left-back in a lab for Simeone and you come out with Andy Robertson, I think, because what he loves is he loves experienced guys, competitive guys, guys who are winners. And that's what Andy Robertson is. You look at his career at Liverpool, he's won pretty much everything there is to win. And I think you look at what Kieran Trippier did at Atletico, he became a really important cog in their title-winning machine there. And Simeone absolutely did not want to let him go when he went. So I would put Andy Robertson in that similar category, somebody who's got lots of Premier League experience, real competitor. I think Simeone
dominated much of the early transfer talk this summer. That is Brian Mbeumo. Will he be following Thomas Frank out of Brentford? And if so, will it be to Spurs or will it be to Manchester United? We spoke to the player yesterday, and you'll have seen that with us, I'm sure. Wasn't giving too much away, was he? Let's, before we come to the Spurs angle on this, get the Manchester United perspective with you, Mark. Linked with him for some time. They've got competition from Tottenham Hotspur. How confident are they of getting their man?
Well, Manchester United will be supremely confident of getting a player that they've identified as someone that can massively improve that attack at Old Trafford. We know that they're relaxed about their pursuit of Brian Mbeumo. In fact, really, he had turned down other Premier League sides to get to the point where Manchester United were lodging bids for Brian Mbeumo. Their first offer was rejected, which we understand to be around £55 million. But they know that Brian Mbeumo has effectively chosen Manchester United. Now, we say effectively, that was at the point maybe a week, 10 days ago, when there were the teams at the table and he said, right, thanks very much for everyone's interest, but I've decided to go to Manchester United. I know Michael is going to interrupt me in a minute and say, hang on a second, things have changed at one North London club in the last few days, and therefore could that change the destination of Brian Mbeumo? He has 1 year left on his Brentford contract, but the club do have an additional year, so therefore it's effectively a 2-year deal that would get Brian Mbeumo out of his contract. We know that there is interest, and we know that Brentford want around £60+ million for the wide man who's been there since 2019. His numbers stack up, very consistent with what he does, brilliant relationships with every single person he's been at Brentford. Ivan Toney, Said Benrahma, Ollie Watkins. He's been a consistent force there, but has his Brentford days come to an end?
And if they have, it seems to point to Manchester United then. But, Michael, Thomas Frank's arrival at Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely. There have been discussions throughout the last week to 10 days, Brentford and Tottenham Hotspur, very amicable discussions. Thomas Frank, the coaching staff, and initial discussions over Brian Mbeumo. I think for Brentford, it's getting the deal they want, is it? I don't think they're necessarily interested on the club he eventually joins. There's Anton Semenyo Spurs are looking at as well, and there's a number of players around Europe Spurs are looking at in those attacking positions. I think for Mbeumo, what I understand is he's quite intrigued by a potential prospect of reuniting with Thomas Frank. For me personally, I still think it does lean towards Manchester United. Gone are the days about they want to play in the Champions League, they want to play in Europe. It's still Manchester United at the end of the day. But what Tottenham do have on their side is one, yes, they've got Champions League football and a manager he knows ever so well in Thomas Frank. So it's very much a wait and see. It's an intriguing one, but he potentially does have a decision to make.
Does the arrival of Matthias Tel affect a potential deal in any way?
Nothing to do with it whatsoever. Right. Matthias Tel was always going to stay. Ange Postecoglou said to me in a press conference that I've signed him for a long term. Unfortunately, Ange won't be there, but it will be Thomas Frank. But Tel's 19. He's still very young. Now, when Spurs signed Matthias Tel on loan, it was with an option to buy him permanently. Spurs have brought that fee down. That's what Spurs have done. But my understanding was it was always going to be a permanent. And also, Thomas Frank has given the thumbs up on this deal. So that's an exciting one in itself. But Tottenham's transfer plans going forward have no bearing on the permanent sign of Matthias Tel. I
don't want to go away too much from the agenda, but Thomas Frank's record for developing players and improving players is sensational. You know, he worked with the Denmark under 16s, 18s. He's been around working with young players, and as obviously you just have to look at the roll call of honour of Brentford players that have all improved under him. I think he'll have a fascinating role in what they do over the course of this summer, and I think the recruitment will be one to watch.
So we'll see where Mbeumo maybe ends up, whether it be Brentford, Manchester United or Tottenham. Speaking of United, strikers, big talking point at Old Trafford this summer. We'll talk about Victor Gyökeres in a moment, but let's start with Hugo Ekitike with you, Mark. Is he an option for Amorim?
He's certainly a player of interest for Manchester United. Obviously, they're exploring the market at the moment. They're looking to try and recruit a number 9. A lot of Manchester United fans will say, well, hang on a sec, what about Xerxes? What about Rasmus Højlund? We know there has been links, according to Sky in Italy, with a return to Italy and Inter Milan for Højlund. As far as he's concerned, he wants to stay at Old Trafford and fight for his place. Maybe be fighting against Hugo Ekitike or Victor Gyökeres over the course of next season. Now, there has been initial talks between United and Eintracht Frankfurt. No formal bid at this stage yet. Manchester United just considering their options. We understand that personal terms are not likely to be an issue for Hugo Ekitike. The price maybe, though. Eintracht Frankfurt have said they want around 100 million euros for the youngster, someone who nearly joined the Premier League a couple of seasons ago because Newcastle were very much interested, and we know how good Newcastle's recruitment has been over the last couple of years. So if you've got a team like Newcastle watching a young player, clearly means there's something there, but not the only striker. And I think that's the key thing to point out here is Manchester United have not put all their eggs in one basket. They're saying, well, yeah, he's one player that we like and we've opened dialogue. However, no bid yet, and that's always key.
And Victor Gyökeres, another one, of course, strongly linked.
Pues es una ausencia importante, porque Neuer es uno de los jugadores que siempre suele comenzar los partidos en esa escalera. Y vamos a ver hasta qué punto lo siente y lo nota el Barrio, que ha sido un equipo un poco de extremos durante los propios partidos, ¿no? Muchas veces ha empezado mal, luego ha mejorado en el segundo tiempo. Hoy el Barrio tiene que salir con mucha más concentración desde el primer instante, porque esto es un partido de playoff y delante tienen un equipo con mucha calidad, como es los Troncos.
Atento está para el cierre, Gil Vidal, segundo palo, Carlas al palo. Adri, ¡gol! ¡Gol del Barrio de Adri de Contreras! El penalti Presi. Mira, y Adri Contreras haciendo de la suya. Se queda en el campo y dice... Ian, disparo. ¡Oh! ¡Saca la llenar! ¡Gol! Verdú, también Edgar Álvaro. Verdú la deja para Edgar. Rompe la barrera. ¡Gol, gol, gol! ¡Gol! ¡Tenemos suerte! ¡Gol! Todo tuyo. Ahí está, Marmartra que lanza un bueno. Jugador estrella.
¿A quién ponemos?
¿Será doble jugador estrella?
Sí. ¿Qué quieres? ¿Penalti?
Pues
Vale,
quiere
como
penalti, no
como
quiere
como
quitarle el
penalti.
jugador. ¡Gol! ¡De los troncos! ¡No falla Verdú! ¡Viene Arché! ¡Manu Martín! Al lado de la pelota. A ver, aquí va. Va directo a la pelota. ¡Gol! ¡Perchita! ¡Gol! Para los troncos. Se fue por la clásica, por la segura. Chita, Sorroche con el centro. La bajó muy bien Litus, pase atrás. Edgar. Buen pro en el área. Paufer con el cuero al segundo palo. La tapó. Pérdida la tiene Arché. Se barre con toda Carraflana. Rebote para allí. ¡Gol! ¡Gol! ¡Del barrio!
Ian González, habéis repetido la suerte de las chicas y estáis en semi. Enhorabuena.
Pues nada, muy contentos. Parece que ya empezamos a salir del pozo en el que nos metimos en Liga después de esas 4 derrotas seguidas. Y nada, a Madrid seguro.
Os enfrentáis, al igual que las chicas, a Ultimate Móstoles, guerra de clubes, parece.
Sí, esperamos a ver si podemos ganarles ya, que desde que salí de allí de Móstoles no le ganó ningún partido. Así que nada, DJ, voy a por ti.
O sea que celebración de gol si marcas, a lo loco, todo, ¿no?
Tanto no, pero ojalá le meta uno.
Bueno, enhorabuena, a disfrutarlo.
Muchas gracias.